morning. This is Rich Sierra, president of the Florida Small Business Legal Center. This is episode number 46 of Business SOS. Thank you for listening today. Last week, I talked about the fact information sheet 1.977A. That is in the event you are in a situation that you received a personal judgment, a judgment against you individually. You have to provide personal information about your finances and who you are in order for the judgment creditor to be in a position to collect in that judgment. So today we're going to talk about the business form. We're going to talk about 1.977B, that what happens if you're in a situation where their business receives a final judgment and a money judgment that can be collected against your business. And then you receive the final judgment, and usually within the instructions in that judgment includes you shall provide complete the fact information sheet, which is 1.977B from the Florida Rules of Procedure, and requires you to provide that information within 45 days from the signing, from the execution, from the date of the order that the order was signed. So today I want to talk about what is the fact information sheet if you didn't listen to last week's episode, and then your obligation to provide them and consequences for not providing that. So fact information sheet is basically the basic form, or the form that you are required to provide, that is a standard form provided to as a judgment debtor for you to complete the form and provide certain documents. So let's go right into it and talk about what you have to provide. First of all, it is for the business. You got to provide the name of the entity. Sometimes businesses work through DBAs. So this is the actual official name of the entity, whether it's an ABC Inc. or ABC LLC. The name and title of the person filling out the form. Obviously, telephone number, place of business, mailing address. They want to know the gross taxable income reported for the federal government for tax purposes for the last 3 years. So it's important you get that from your tax returns. And if you have any questions on that, you certainly can ask your attorney or your accountant. And let me preface by saying that if you're in a situation that you received a final judgment, whether it's for personal or business, I cannot stress upon you the importance of seeking legal counsel. That is very, very important. This is not something you want to do by yourself, because if you make mistakes, you might have penalties. You want to do this correctly. So seeking legal counsel is very important in this case. Your tax ID number for the business, whether the business is a S Corp or it's not an S Corp. I mean, if it's an S Corp, you say yes or no. The average number of employees per month. The name of each shareholder, member, or partner owning 5% or more of the entity's common stock, preferred stock, or other equity interest. So they want to know who are the owners of the company. And sometimes it's 2 people, 3, whatever it is. You got to put in there, and you got to write that down. The name of the officers, directors, members, or partners. That you have to include that information as well. All the checking accounts that you have and account numbers, savings accounts as well. This includes any money markets, brokerage accounts that the business may have. They have to be included in the form and this document as well. If the businesses own any vehicles, that has to be included there. Your make and model, vehicle ID number, tag number, mileage, the color, the names on the title, the present value, the balance, the loan owed to, and the balance of the loan, and what are the monthly payments. If the entity owns any real estate, sometimes the business owns a building or a condo or an office condo, that has to be included there as well. If the entity owns any boats, campers, stocks and bonds, any other real property or any other personal property, that has to be included there. Now, for the information for the business, a little bit less intrusive than for personal. But the information they're going to be requesting shortly is going to be more in depth. I'm just going to go through this list. they want you to include copies of the state and federal income tax returns for the past 3 years. So Florida doesn't have any state income tax unless you're a regular C Corp. You're not an S Corp. However, you probably have sales tax returns. Those have to be included here as well. All bank savings and loans and other account books and statements for accounts in institutions in which the entity has an illegal equitable interest for the past 3 years. All canceled checks for the 12 months immediately preceding the service of the date of the fact information sheet for accounts in which the entity held legal equitable interest. So you basically get your bank statement for the last 3 years. You can get those directly from your bank. Some banks have it in PDF, can go back 7 years. And by any chance your bank doesn't have it available through your portal, you can go to your bank and basically request that through a special request, and they'll mail them to you. They might charge you a few dollars, but you can request that. Remember, you have 45 days to complete this information, so use them wisely. So that first week, if there's any documents you need to order from someone else you don't have access to, go ahead and get them ordered so you get them the week after. So time is a very important asset to you when you're dealing with this. The canceled checks, same thing. You can ask that from their bank, or you can get them down from your online portal in your bank. All deeds, leases, mortgages, or the written instruments evidencing any interest in ownership of real property at any time within the last 12 months, immediately preceding the sale of the lawsuit, let me repeat this. All deeds, leases, mortgages, or the written instruments evidencing any interest in or ownership of real property at any time within the 12 months immediately preceding the date this lawsuit was filed. So, not from the date of the judgment. This is a little different here. Okay? So, they want to know from the date the lawsuit was filed, what happened the year before. So, you need to basically, it's not from the time of the order, but it's going to be confusing here. So, it's from the time that the day the lawsuit was filed, you got to look at the original lawsuit. There's a date on the top, so it's a filing date. So look at that date, and then you go about 12 months. So I can see anybody reading this for the first time say, okay, it's 12 months from the date of the judgment. No, 12 months preceding the day the lawsuit was filed. So if the lawsuit took 12 months or say 18 months to get resolved, so you have to go back another year. So just keep that in mind. Any motor vehicle or vessel documents, including titles, registrations relating to any motor vehicles owned by the entity alone or with others. Financial statements as to the entity's assets, liabilities, and owner's equity prepared within the 12 months immediately preceding the service date of this fact information sheet. So this is different. Number 7 here is different from the prior ones. This is from the time you receive the order, the judgment. So you go 12 months, and you have your accountant can provide that, or you can basically run it through QuickBooks and just do the last year of financial reportings, financial statements. Any minutes of meetings of the entity's members, partners, shareholders, board directors held within 2 years of service date of this fact information sheet. A lot of businesses are small businesses. They don't have meetings or minutes. So if you don't have them, you don't have them. Say no meetings were held. If you have them, you provide them. And these are documents that you either have or you can easily gather. Where people get in trouble, as I mentioned in my last episode, is not providing the information that is requested fully, or not providing the information that on a timely fashion. So these are really unforced errors that can be avoided by just following instructions. And your attorney can help you with this. Last but not least, they're asking for resolutions of entities, members, partners, shareholders, or board of directors passed within 2 years of service date of this fact information sheet. Again, a lot of businesses are small, and they might have 1 or 2 members. It might be a single member company. One owner company, so you clearly don't have these minutes or resolutions. If you have them, then you go ahead and provide it to them. One thing that is important here is that if you have sold your business within the last 12 months, those documents will have to be provided as well. So you can be in a situation that you're in the middle of a lawsuit. You sell your business to another entity, another individual. You got to provide those closing documents as well. So they want to know what happened with the last 12 months. And a lot of people sell their businesses, transfer assets, and in anticipation of a judgment. And I want to give you a word of advice in terms of be careful with that. And I get questions. Okay, a common question that I get is like, Rich, what if I, open another company and close this one down, open another company doing the same thing, I transfer everything to the new company, and I'm okay with that? The answer is no. Okay, I'm going to give you the short answer. If you're already doing a business and you take your assets and create a brand new entity, and you have the same customers, the same business you were doing before, and do it with the purpose of avoiding a creditor, that entity will be brought in as a successor in interest. So, and then you might have a fraudulent transfer claim. It's just not worth it. My suggestion in these cases is, first, if you're in a situation that you have that you're a judgment debtor, you have a judgment against you for your business, you have to seek legal advice as soon as possible. That is really the best, suggestion that I have for you, because there are a lot of different options that you can have and can, have available to you to try to resolve the matter. You can negotiate the judgment. You can restructure a payment plan. An attorney can help you with that. If there's no benefit to the judgment creditor to closing your business down, because if it's a business debt, and there's nothing personally attaching to that business debt, okay? In their business, if it's service business, for example, the business closes, that creditor is not going to get paid because there's nothing there. There's nothing to collect from. But if the business is operating, the business generating revenue, there's an incentive for that judgment creditor to allow you to continue being in business, provided that you submit those payments. So from a business standpoint, in a business creditor situation, there's a lot of flexibility here. For the most part, the business doesn't own a building. They might have a lease. There's nothing to collect from there. So the business has ongoing revenue, but if all that revenue is taken away, that's the end of that. And that side of judgment might not be satisfied. So negotiating a potential restructuring of the judgment is a possibility. Doesn't mean that it will happen, but there's a lot of flexibility, a lot of options available by having legal advice, a competent legal advice that can help you maybe negotiate a different structure so the debt can be paid while you're still in business, and you can hold them from actually going into your business and taking over your property and taking over your equipment. And frankly, that equipment may not be worth it to that judgment creditor anyway. So, and I see a lot of those things with, equipment sales, equipment leases that are financed. The business is good for the business owner, but a judgment creditor, say a credit card company, went in taking your equipment, your copiers, your computers, not going to do anything for them. So trying to negotiate this is actually a better choice. Something else I wanted to mention to you is that it is important to comply with the fact information sheet. And actually, in my book, Business SOS, I give an example of someone that did not comply, that almost was arrested. By the time that they came to me, it was in the final phase for not complying. And, and the business got a final judgment for something not paying a credit card, or I don't remember exactly what the circumstances were, but it was a final judgment. And so they received the final judgment, the fact information sheet, and for whatever reason, it did not comply. And I think if I remember, it was something to the effect that we don't have to provide that information. And I'm like, oh, you have to provide information. You're a judgment debtor. You have to provide it. It's by law. You don't have to file it in court, but you have to provide it. So then, the attorney went back to the court and say, motion to compel the court order. The fact information sheet was not being provided. And the court gave this client another 20 days to provide the information sheet. And the client still didn't do it. So the third time, the judge said, okay, I'm going to issue what is called order to show cause, why you should not be held in contempt, and why I should not do a writ of attachment. And basically gave the client 10 days to cure the order. Otherwise, the client could be held in contempt and have writ of attachment held against him for not simply providing documents. Yet, the client still did not provide the documents. So by the time it came to me, there was a writ of attachment against that client for not providing documents, which are really documents that are for what happened in the past. They're financial documents that are easily available, as simply complying with a court order. But at the end of the day, the client, we were able to work it out. The client complied with the documents and the writ was removed. But all that could have been avoided by simply complying with the order the first time in the first place. So, one of those things that procrastination is not a good idea in these cases. If you're in a situation that you receive a final judgment from anyone, from a judgment creditor, credit card company, finance company, whatever the case may be, my recommendation is to seek legal advice as soon as possible in order to assist you and give you the various tools available to help you with these. And in fact, a few episodes back, I believe a few months ago, I had Jeff Tromberg with me. He's a bankruptcy attorney who gave some guidance, some advice in this case. So you want to go back a few episodes, you have not listened to that as well. But if you're in a situation which happens, circumstances take place, don't be embarrassed. If you're in a situation that you receive a final judgment, you are obligated to provide a fact information sheet, please seek legal advice. It's the best suggestion that I can give you today. So that's it for today for the fact information sheet. I know it's a little drier subject, and I apologize. I'll try to make it better next time. But if you have any questions regarding these subjects, these topics, please send me an email at richsierra.com. If you want to learn more about legal services, my website is floridasmallbusinesslegalcenter.com. Again, it's floridasmallbusinesslegalcenter.com. We're in Facebook at FSB Legal. We're in YouTube at youtube.com/Richard Sierra. We're in Twitter, or now it's X, at Rich_Sierra. We're on Instagram at FSB Legal. You can call us at 866-842-5202. Remember that Business SOS, 8 common legal mistakes business owners make and how to avoid them. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can ask for your local bookstore as well. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review. Follow us as well and recommend it to your friends. This helps the algorithm to recommend the show to other business owners as well. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can watch this podcast through our YouTube channel as well. Until next week, this is Rich Sierra. Remember that my goal is to help you succeed.